Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Project Airwaves. I'm D.
And this is Lynn.
How's it going, Lynn? How's your weekend been, my friend?
Hey, man, another weekend in the bag. Had something pretty crazy go through. Decided to work the overtime for the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight. It was interesting.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy boxing match. I don't personally follow boxing too much.
No, you're like UFC mostly.
Yeah, I prefer the UFC factor more than anything. I noticed with boxing that it has a pretty good follower system. There is a pretty high fan base just because it was one of the original fighting styles, especially in the United States.
Really?
That this fight was pending for such a long time. A lot of people were really looking forward to seeing these two fight again because the fight that they had before with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder practically knocked out Fury.
Really? Yeah, you mentioned something about that.
I don't know if you've seen these two guys. These guys are like, I don't know, quote me if I'm wrong. Wilder's pushing like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
Fury's like 6'5",
They're
close to
freaking
6'7".
giants.
They're huge.
They're freaking giants.
The thing that confused me and a lot of things when it comes to boxing is that if you see the UFC fights, their weight differential is like a couple pounds off here and there.
Yeah.
But they roughly have to be the same thing. Like,
yeah.
Me and you can't fight
No.
because we're in two completely different weight classes. When they were showing the weight difference, I was blown away that Wilder's weight was 230 pounds.
Yeah.
230, 235. And then Fury's weight was 274 pounds.
What?
It's a 50-pound difference. That 50 pounds was enough to seal it for him. And it was like, I was on the edge of my seat.
50 pounds.
50-pound difference.
That's insane.
I was working the overtime security for this massive ballroom. And the ballroom's huge. They put this giant monitor in the middle, and it looked like an octagon, kind of, or a boxing ring. It was a monitor with 4 TVs on it, all in a square, and those TVs had to be like easily over 100 feet, probably. And the size and length of these TVs were just awesome, so you really got into wanting to feel the fights. And you could hear when these two were hitting each other, it sounded like cars crashing.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're just blowing each other out. And from what I remember on parts of it, just because I know the aftermath of the fight, that Wilder did get pretty badly beat up. He blew out one of his eardrums. So during the fight, he was bleeding from his ear.
I was going to say, you said there was a bunch of blood.
There's a bunch of blood. He's bleeding from his ear. You know, Fury had this weird thing where he started licking the blood off of his shoulder.
I'm not.
I sent
that kiss. He was like,
I sent a meme to my brother of I don't know. Some of our fans will know this, of Patrick from SpongeBob going "Little Lee," and it literally just looked like him doing it in the background, and I can't wait for the meme to start coming out.
Terrible.
But 7th round, you know, they had to put a stoppage. Wilder just couldn't defend himself anymore. He was stumbling all over the place. People don't really know when it comes to fighting, especially if you have any injuries with your ear, you get vertigo.
Yes.
When you blow out that eardrum, your body, the equilibrium goes out. You can't stand, let alone talk and have a conversation.
Right.
And Wilder somehow, man, he was able to hold it down for 7 rounds.
7 rounds.
Before.
Didn't you say he broke his jaw or something?
I'm pretty sure he either broke or dislocated his jaw and blew out his eardrums. It was here in Vegas at MGM Garden, and then they took Wilder to the hospital. He was supposed to have an after party at the club inside of the casino I work at, and that got wiped out.
That's insane.
You're not going to want to go to a club if you can't even hear, like, let alone have vertigo and stuff like that.
The last thing you do is like, hey, I'm bleeding from my ear. Let's go to the after party.
Exactly. So it was a cool little event. You know, easy overtime money. I worked 6 to 8 hours before, and then went to my 10-hour shift. But you know, the weekend was packed with a lot of that. Just people coming in town to watch a pretty crazy boxing match, and then getting together and mingling.
Yeah, right on. And like, to be honest, the last live fight I saw was Anderson Silva versus somebody. I forget now. It was at the MGM a long time ago. And it was when Silva took the belt in like maybe, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds of the first round, or maybe the second round. Yeah. He's a beast. And I remember me and you watching one of the fights where he dislocated his toe.
No, he shattered his ankle. Yeah, he threw a low leg kick to Chris Weidman and shattered his ankle. Into multiple places. The same guy that knocked him out prior to, when he had a record of like 39-0. He'd been undefeated. This nobody came in through multiple combos, and Anderson Silva, being cocky as he normally is, he was doing head jukes and everything like that with his arms down.
He was dancing.
Yeah, and then this dude barely hit him with the firm backhand, knocked him out.
Nice.
And so they wanted a rematch. The rematch was
I remember that.
Him fighting Weidman again, and then he snapped his foot, and that was just it. That his career just kind of crapped out.
I was good with UFC after that. Thank you very much.
No, I'm a big guy when it comes comes to these kind of events just because it's entertaining to see what these people bring to the table. I know that with boxing matches, they are a little bit different, but the diversity of these people going 12 to 15 rounds for 3 to 5 minutes,
right?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I couldn't, when we would have our little wrestling matches in the garage with the mats and everything like that.
Dude, we used to throw down.
Oh my God,
dude,
man.
we used to throw down.
We had these quarter-inch MMA mats from the UFC gym or from a buddy of ours. We would grapple and fight on that on the weekends before I would go train at the actual UFC gym.
Like a maniac.
And these mats, like, they rolling around for like 5 minutes. You would get beat up, but you would be so fatigued.
Oh yes,
5 to 10 minutes
sweating.
You're gasping for air, and these boxers are just going nonstop.
Yeah, and this dude, Lynn's just sitting over here in his like capoeira stance, just like chilling with his one arm down. I was like, oh okay, and I go at him, and he's like about to rip my arm out of the socket. I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna be over here when you're done.
Yeah, it's always brings back memories more than anything. Speaking of memories, I guess we're gonna hit the beginning segment of story time.
Story time.
I'll let D pick up on some of this because I vaguely remember it, but I do remember bits and pieces of it.
So me and Lynn, obviously back when we were kids, used to go to Bryan Head, Utah when we were younger. Lynn's stepfather was a contractor, so we would just be able to go there from time to time on vacation and whatnot. So this one year we went to Bryan Head, and it was wintertime, and literally that was my first time going. I had a blast. I'm not a snow person. I was born in August. I live in Vegas, so I'm a heat boy. Like, you give me 105, I'm good. I'm gonna be a little hot, but I'm straight. You put me in the snow, I'm like a fish out of water. I'm just like, what is this weird white stuff? So, and Lynn's good because he comes from the East Coast, so that's like all they know. So he was like, yeah, bro, it's just, you got to learn. My dumb self wore like some construction boots and like some regular like gym socks or something, and some jeans and like a hoodie or like a jacket. I wasn't prepared for this type of weather, and they knew I wasn't, but I was like, yeah, I'm good to go. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll let you see, how cool you actually are. So we step out of the car. By the time we get out of the car and get into the cabin, I'm frozen solid. Like, my shoes, the shoestrings or my shoelaces were frozen in place at that point, which I had left them untied like an idiot. So we just have a good old time. We got the sled. We're going down the hills. We almost got a snowmobile, but we didn't.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and it's cool. They had a whole bunch of you could go snowboarding, you can go sledding. That hill fed all the way up to the backside of the mountain. So the cabins, you just walk out, go to your right.
I would have broke something if we got a snowmobile. We were too young. We were like, what, 16?
Less than that,
17?
Man. Less than that.
Yeah?
Less than that. There's no way, because that was 16, 17 would have been high school for us. That had to have been middle school.
That was.
We were between the ages like 12 and 14.
That's nuts. Yeah, we would. I definitely would have crashed that thing into something. Yeah. So, like, we're walking around. The snow's up to my knees. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't walk. I'm afraid, like, I'm going to be like one of those kids you see in those videos where they're just, like, playing in snow and then they fall and they disappear. I felt like that. Like, I'm just going to, like, drop, like, 10 feet down. I'm just going to be like, yo, it was nice knowing everybody. But we made it into the cabin. Everything was cool. We chilled out. That was probably one of the funnest times I've ever had in the snow, just because I'm not used to that type of environment or lifestyle. Everything was chill. Everybody around us was happy. Everybody was having fun. We were having snowball fights. We had hot chocolate. It was just the most amazing experience. And then the end of the trip happened. Now, this is where it gets funny, because Lynn's parents, as we were packing up, they were packing everything in the black garbage bags. Well, as we were leaving, me and Lynn were making a run somewhere. His parents were like, yo, take out the trash. And we're like, oh, okay. So we look for what else? Black garbage bags. So we grab these garbage bags and we drop them off, not thinking anything of it, right? So we get back to the room and Lynn's mom looks at both of us and she's like, yo, what did you do with those bags? And we're like, we threw them away. You said they were garbage.
I don't remember any of this, but I have a faint idea, and it's starting to kind of bring back memories. I slowly remember, and I can vaguely depict my mother's face seeing that these bags were missing, but go ahead.
So we were like, we took them out, and they're like, oh no, you just threw away our bag of clothes. And we were like, wait, what? And they're like, we put our clothes in the black garbage bags. And we're looking at each other like, well, how we were supposed to know that you put those in there? And they are like frantic now, because we were like probably like 5 minutes away from leaving. We are about to go. It's go time. It was the most somberest ride home, because instead of them having their bag of clothes, I don't know, I doubt they were able to recover them, but they had 2 bags of garbage. So we were just like chilling in the back of the car, just quiet the whole time. It was like, don't say nothing, don't be out of line, don't do anything, because somebody's going to reach back and probably like slap you the next Friday. It was a great time. I remember it very well because I was scared for my life. I was like, they're going to leave me here. I'm going to have to call my parents to come get me.
Brian Head was always a fun time. I do miss going up there. We used to do it very, very frequently just because my stepdad, he worked for like a contractor. He worked for a construction company that owned out the rights to that cabin. So, get the family together. My brother and my mom, we would all go out there, just kind of spend the weekend over there. Yeah. Always bring D to this event, which down the road you guys will hear some pretty crazy stories about family events we've gone through.
Yeah, man.
This one being a little bit more minor than most, but
chill,
it was just a quick little recap of how we've fucked up on some things and throw my parents' clothes away. My mom was not happy about it.
I broke Lynn's grandpa's finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that today.
No, that's the story for another time. I'm sure. I totally forgot about that too. That's the story for another time. All right, but going off into our main topic of today, we're going to be hitting off a couple new things. More than anything is that we're going to be going visual within the next episode, meaning...
Yeah, it's our episode 10, y'all.
Episode 10. Whoop, whoop. Meaning what the plan was originally is if we could get up to 100 listens, we were going to go visual.
Yes.
Start trying to do YouTube, see if we can get up, Facebook, Instagram, everything like that, so you guys can actually put a face to our voices.
Yeah.
With that being said as well, we're also working on merchandise that you will soon see. Logo brand more than anything. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback and good insight of what we're going to do when it comes to putting out merch, which is what did we discuss? T-shirts, hoodies,
and lanyards.
Yeah, lanyards, T-shirts,
maybe some
wristbands, stickers.
Eventually we want to get like hats and like really like the good material fabric, that you can like sweat in and things like that. We're going to start small, but obviously we're going to ramp and amp, when we get your guys' feedback and we see your support. So with this being our 10th episode, we're going to kind of take it easy this time. We've been, just dropping all these type of mental gems and these mind bombs over the past few episodes. So we're going to ease up, and this time we're going to just talk about video games and, things we like to do. And, we might have a few squirrel moments. So, tuck in, hang out. Let's get into it.
We're going to touch on those topics, hit those things, just enjoying the little things that we enjoyed when we were younger, what we're enjoying now.
Yeah, because times have changed.
Yeah, times have changed. And
things are not as simple as they used to be.
No, it's become more and more complicated. I noticed that over the weekend more than anything. One of my close friends who we may or may not be having as a special guest at some point.
Yes.
Very successful, very hard-working guy. You will hear...
C?
Yeah.
C.
Yeah, so C for code name.
E.
This guy does have his stuff together. For his age right now, he is well above what most people are doing. He's working for
brilliant.
Really big companies.
And the nicest dude you'll ever freaking meet.
Super nicest guy. Can be a total nerd.
He's a bear.
Going for his birthday and everything, we ended up doing like the kiddishest thing of going over to Gravity. That
nice.
That trampoline park. Oh my God, man. I never felt my age of 30.
Yes.
And so now granted, I was in good enough shape to be able to do the obstacle courses, to climb my way across, to go into the foam pits, and seeing everybody run around struggling in their age class. It's like, obviously, trampoline parks aren't for the faint of heart. They're not meant for adults.
No.
I had to convince C before we went to this thing saying, hey, because he wanted to go to dinner first. And go to dinner or go get drinks and then go to the trampoline park. And I'm like, unless you want people fucking vomiting left and right. Have you ever seen that episode of Family Guy when they take the Epicac? Where Stewie and Brian and Peter
no more.
And they're throwing up on top of each other. Oh man, that's rough. That definitely puts a strain. That's not what I wanted. So in the morning, took him out to breakfast and everything. His favorite spot, Baby Stacks.
Baby Stacks.
Oh. If you haven't been to Baby Stacks, I highly recommend it.
So good.
Meals are so good. Pancakes are like probably by far the best I ever had. We hit up Baby Stacks and then we went throughout our day. Met up with him in the afternoon to go to Gravity. Gravity was good. After that, I broke off while they went out to go get drinks and go to dinner. But
nice.
It was just cool because it was such a minimal thing.
Right.
I feel like with my birthday coming around the corner, it's in March.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And last year we went up to Gunlock.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we went up hiking up to Gunlock. And Gunlock was cool. Gunlock was such a cool little spot just because, it had the waterfalls.
Yeah.
It was in a completely different part of...
It was just like unknown territory
Unknown
for
territory,
us.
yeah. It felt very, very foreign, but it was such a cool little way of turning 30. Like, I enjoyed it immensely because it wasn't in town.
Yeah.
It didn't cost anything.
Right.
to drive out for maybe an hour and a half out to Utah, and
Right.
it was a little break off the road. The minute you broke off to the road,
Right.
waterfalls, rapids, everywhere.
Right, and it was the most random thing because you were going down the highway, and then the GPS is like, okay, you're gonna make a U-turn, and we're like, wait, what? We're going like 50 miles an hour. It's like, no, pop a U-turn
on a tiny highway
on
a
this
mountain.
tiny little one lane highway.
Yeah.
We pop a U-turn, boom, you're there. I was just like, wait, how did I not see this thing driving down the road? And it's just right here.
Fun. It was really.
We'll
really
upload
cool.
pictures for you guys.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be a thing. When we start getting more into the visual aspect, I know that a lot of the things that we do is outside of just the basic Vegas lifestyle of going to the clubs and going to private events.
Yes, because that gets old.
Yeah, we try to do the stuff on the outskirts of it. Going hiking, going to a trampoline park, going quadding, paintballing.
We've been paintballing.
Paintballing. Like there's so many different stories built around
painful day of fun.
the things that we've done. But it's enjoying the little things, the things that I didn't have to put a lot of effort and money into. Things where it's like it didn't cost me a fortune to plan out. I didn't have to invite 100 people.
Fun.
And we used to do it back in the day, which is another event we will talk about for our story times. Is the parties we used to throw.
Oh, the parties!
Huge parties and events and house parties and renting out locations, renting out houses. It would.
We were kid and play, like we were living kid and play.
Oh yeah, block party.
Way before we were even old enough to drink. It was insane.
For a while.
Absurd.
Yeah, exactly.
Absurd.
And it was such a fun thing, but it would cost so much money and so much upkeep.
We would blow damn near like $200.
More than that.
Well, you would.
Yeah, I'm spending like
I was the bouncer.
a couple thousand just to get these people to come. We'd fly.
Oh yeah, because you rented out full blown houses.
Yeah,
and shit.
I was renting out houses, especially for like my early 20s and everything like that.
That was.
Yeah, those events were...
Those were like good and bad days at the same time.
Yeah, definitely learned from it. It led me realize to really enjoy the little things.
The little things.
The little things, the things that I felt are more memorable and don't cost a dime to do. Spending time with your friends, going to breakfast, doing the birthday things, just the little things that people will take for granted down the road when they spend X amount of money and invite people they don't even care or really know about. With those things, it's like we kind of want to go off to the topic today of, what did you grow up on? What kind of cartoons did you like? What video games did you like? What's coming out now that kind of symbolizes to it?
Okay, so Zoids.
I forgot about Zoids. I forgot about Zoids.
I lived Zoids. I couldn't, I would wait every morning because it came on Cartoon Network every morning at like 6 or 7 a.m. right around the time I think Pokemon
you had
was
to
still
get up
showing
and get up and go for school. Yeah, I remember
so it was Zoids, and then originally they played it obviously in the afternoons and the evenings, but then they got it in the morning times. So I was watching Zoids. I was heavily into Transformers, Beast Wars.
Yeah. Transformers was really, really good.
Like that was my shtick right there. Reboot with Enzo and Bob and Hexadecimal.
I don't remember Reboot.
Dude, it literally felt like they took a computer program and made it into a cartoon.
Was that Cartoon Network?
Yeah, it was all computer generated.
Okay, I do remember Reboot, and it's funny that you hit it off the Cartoon Network. The reason why I wanted to bring up the topic about games and old cartoons, I just saw that they did the Samurai Jack.
Oh yeah.
They're turning Samurai Jack from Cartoon Network into a video game for the PS4. And I was looking at the style, and it's good. It literally goes from the intro, from the beginning of everything happened to the end of the timeline. Or even he says, even the future has to come to an end.
Nice.
And it's just like hearing it and seeing it, it's like, dude,
are they giving Jack a send-off?
I feel like they are, because it goes through the style of him being in his normal, normal samurai attire.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the future aspect of where he's duked out. No. He's got a beard. He's got long hair. He's using different weapons. It shows him using like a Gatling gun and everything, taking out all the...
I remember that episode where it looked like he went Super Saiyan because he took out his little top knot.
Yeah, and his hair just
it looked super epic. Yeah. I was like, dude, I would love to play that in a video game.
And supposedly it came out on the PS4. I already saw that there's YouTube tutorials on it, so maybe it might be an actual good thing.
I mean, we have a lot of technology nowadays that lets even the most basic of people make the most beautiful of creations.
Well, that's another thing too, is I don't know, Netflix remade the first Pokemon movie. Did you see that? I don't know if it's Netflix. I mean, quote me if I'm wrong.
I think it's Netflix.
It's either Netflix or... Yeah.
Are you talking about Pokemon Adventures or something like that?
No, it's the very first... They compared the Pokemon movie, the one with Mewtwo and Mew.
Yeah.
And then they made a CGI version of it.
What?
And they compare it in the same wavelength. No. It looks so fucking good. No. The fight style is the same. The intro where they're walking and then they go to meet up with the fight other trainers and then it goes in the actual movie.
Yeah.
They go play by play with that.
What's that? Pokemon 2000. I think
Yeah. Pokemon 2000. They did a remake of that, and
oh my god,
it just shows, like you said, they can make the most simple art style into something huge with really good CGI.
Yes, there's amazing things out there, especially when it comes to like looking back when me and Lynn were growing up. Cartoons were basic. We had like Ed, Ed and Eddie, Angry Beavers, Rocko's Modern Life.
I gotta touch a spot on Ed and Eddie. I totally forgot about
Oh
that.
yeah, dude. We lived on Edda and Eddie. Like all day after school, we would go home, watch Edda and Eddie. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
These cartoons were so dark.
They
and
were
so bad. I just saw a little spinoff about Ed and Eddie, where they were saying it's weird if when you start to pay attention to it as an adult, you start to notice little things like supposedly the characters aren't even supposed to be from the same timeline. That Eddie was supposed to be in the Great Depression.
Yeah.
They also had a thing where it's like, how come you never see the parents?
Yeah, you never see the parents. They're always gone.
Yeah, the parents are always gone.
Kids.
Yeah, it's only just the kids.
There's
they
like
never
certain flashback scenes where Ed will have a memory that Eddie doesn't, or something like that.
They never leave the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, they never.
It's like
leave
it kind of makes you piece together. It's like as a kid, do you know what you were watching?
Right.
If the editors were making this intentionally to be like this, or if these little Easter eggs were getting thrown in there because that's just what they were able to do. Because I didn't notice any of this shit until
of course not.
Until I was an adult.
We never questioned that, bro. We were watching freaking Rolf sing "That's My Horse."
That's
like,
and that would make me laugh when you didn't know that happened to be like about his form of poverty back in the day.
Is terrible.
Yeah, so it's
absolutely terrible, dude. Rocket Power.
I remember Rocket Power. I remember Rocket Power. Rocket Power was fucking hilarious.
It was amazing. I loved Rocket Power.
Rocket Power was good.
I mean, there was a lot of shows. Like I said, I got into this was before I got into anime. I was still kind of into cartoons, but I wasn't familiar enough with cartoons to understand what anime was. So as I started transitioning into anime, my taste became a lot more refined, and I started getting into things like Bleach and Dragon Ball Z. I mean, for me, Dragon Ball Z was a cartoon. I didn't realize Dragon Ball Z was really an anime until I did my research.
You start to see the differences. Like Cartoon Network wouldn't show anime. Right. Cartoon Network's strictly cartoon.
Where they would cut out the blood and stuff until we got like Adult Swim. We'd have to wait till the nighttime or something.
And Toonami was all the day stuff. Cartoon Network, which I feel like what's a good platform of what they did is they would run cartoons all day.
Yeah.
They would run the modern ones, Dexter's Laboratory.
Who was it? Bob? The dude in the spaceship?
The dude in the spaceship. They would run those until about 5 or 4, and then from something 4 to 7 would be Toonami, would be all the animes and the fighting.
Like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z and
Ronin Warriors.
Ronin Warriors
were really good. Yu Yu Hakusho. There was a whole bunch of them.
Yu Yu Hakusho was
all those shows would get smashed into a 7-minute thing.
Lupin the Third.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would get so hyped to knock all their homework out or do whatever just for
Toonami
for those 4 to 7 hours. And I remember having my little VHS recorder.
Oh yeah, you'd record.
I would record the episodes on a VHS tape because I'm like, I was always grounded. Like my parents punished me for everything because I was not the best kid. I had good grades, but I was a little terror, so I would get grounded for everything. So it's like, okay, if I can't watch it now, I'll just record it, and then I'll watch it later. I had to find a way to be smart with.
Work around it.
I had to work around what I needed to do it. And then you would go into back to normal shows for a little bit, and then like around 11 o'clock, Adult Swim would come on.
Yeah,
and that
was weird. We get like Super Jail and
the weird stuff. Yeah, Mr. Pickle.
What?
Yeah, the dog.
What?
You never saw that? It was I think it was called Mr. Pickles. It was a dog.
No.
That was like possessed by like the devil or something like that, and it would kill. It was so weird. The animation style. It was the creators of Metalocalypse. That kind of crap. So it was just.
What was that one show? Dude's like, I got a mangina.
Oh, Old Greg.
Remember.
It was Old Greg.
Old Greg. Old Greg.
I was just talking to one of my coworkers about that at work about Old Greg.
Like it got weird. It was cool at first, but it got weird. That's a lot of the stuff we grew up with. Like video games for me, I grew up on like Kutaru Man, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, Legend of Dragoon,
Final Fantasy.
So what was kind of funny about our video game history is a lot of the games I watched Lynn play. I didn't actually play them. Outside of a few, like we had Conker's Bad Fur Day. That was like our go-to for a long time. But like Lynn would play like Manhunt. That was all him.
I love the horror games.
I'm a little girl. I can't.
The horror games.
I don't do horror games. I don't like jump scares and stuff.
I've always been a big horror fan.
If there was a scary game, Resident Evil.
Yeah.
All this guy up until what 5 or something with Sheva.
Well, yeah, no 5. We started doing it was the co-op.
It was the co-op, and the only reason I could play it was because I was co-oping with him. And even still, I dropped my controller multiple times from jump scares and got us killed in Dead
Space. I remember Dead Space.
Oh my god, I couldn't watch it.
No,
he got in like the first like few, I think like hour or two, and I just couldn't watch it. I was freaking the hell out. I don't know how he did it. What was it? Not Infinity. The one where you're underwater and you have the big daddies and the little.
BioShock. Yeah, BioShock. Back then, I just replayed that because the PlayStation Network decided to give it back up for free.
Yeah, I saw that.
Their monthly subscription. They give you
all the 3-pack or something.
They gave you a 3-pack. They gave you all 3 games. Playing it when I was a kid, terrifying because seeing these people, splicers, their faces were all melted and everything like that, and getting attacked from every corner, it used to freak you out because I was back in like PS2 PS2.
Right. Yes.
Going into the
Scary as
PS3,
hell.
and then replaying it now, it's like, oh, this is
It's
cool,
not so
but
bad.
it's not as
Right.
bad.
I watched my boy Jay run through what was it, Infinity? Yeah, I think it's Infinity where you're in the air.
Infinity. Oh yeah. That was the third one.
He ran through it like it was nothing. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, it's a ghost. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna, and he pulls out something with his hand and spikes.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, cool.
Plasmids.
Yeah, okay, you have fun with that.
It's cool. It's cool to kind of reminisce on just your childhood, the things that kind of got you to where you are as an adult now. I notice more than anything with my birthday coming around the corner, and growing and changing as an individual. I don't do as much fun things as I used to do back in the past.
Not at all.
I don't get to reminisce on a cartoon or look forward to a show coming on between 4 or 7.
Because everything's just different.
Everything is different. Things are getting more complicated, more serious. It's a real life thing. Is that you get to the part where if you were raised to be able to handle to take shit, have shit given to you, or have to learn to work for it on your own.
Right.
And, thankfully,
and our generation's too old, so they're like a lot of the things we used to love don't transition up until adulthood. Like I love the Rugrats. Well, we had Rugrats all grown up, but that was weird.
It was weird.
Wasn't the same.
It was awkward.
And there's a lot of stuff like on TV. Like there's a lot of stuff, not even just like cartoons, but there's a lot of kind of topics and things that shows would cover back in the day that wouldn't get so much controversy, so much backlash.
Right.
But now with the new generation, you don't get that anymore.
A lot of shows they do that now, and more or less anything that people tend to nitpick at every little detail. If they mention anything about any kind of gender or color or anything like that, it'll automatically gets censored. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. They'll stop shows canceled. They'll stop good shows on Netflix or anything like that, or certain games coming out. They'll stop them if somebody throws a complaint about the way a style is.
Yeah.
If
they're offended.
Exactly. When back in the day you could watch some of the craziest shit as a kid, which obviously should not have been meant for kids, like Courage Cowardly Dog. If you were trying to show kids nowadays
dark as hell.
Seeing that shit, it would be like, oh, your kids are gonna come out weird, but we came out fine.
Right.
You have to kind of test the limits.
It's that censorship of your parents.
Yeah,
it's that censorship of you as a child. Like, okay, there's certain things like I talked about in my most recent session. Go ahead and check that out, session 2. It's one of those things where you have to be instilled with that. So your parents have to help you differentiate between reality and fiction. You know what I mean? And then it's one of those things where you watch and you go, okay, this might be a little too scary, so maybe I shouldn't watch this. Like we had our own filters because I felt like we were smart back then.
Yeah, no, we knew.
We watched
we knew enough.
Certain stuff. I was just like, look, I'm not ready for that right now. I'm good. Like I didn't need it to be censored up front for me.
No,
I was censored it myself.
You kind of gave yourself that filter to know, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't watch this, or you know what, I'm gonna watch this because it's cool, but I know that it's not right to watch.
Right.
You get that mindset, but you're being able to censor what you feel should be censored. Vice versa with the same thing with your parents being able to control it. Now that opportunity gets taken out of our hands entirely.
Everything does it for you.
Yeah, everything does it for you. Yeah.
Your phone censors. Your TV is like, oh hey, are you sure?
I forgot to mention that. I was at the gym and I saw this thing. You know what TikTok is?
Yes.
You heard of it? Okay, yeah. So a lot of kids more or less in a higher age.
That fucking choking shit or whatever.
No. The one it's called the Skull Breaker Challenge.
What the fuck?
Oh my god, dude! I was at the gym and TikTok was the news was warning kids to not go off of TikTok's new challenge, which is called the Skull Breaker Challenge. And what it was
oh jeez,
3 people would stand side to side, and then 2 would jump up in the air. The middle one would stay down, and then they would look at each other at the middle one. The middle one would jump up in the air, and the 2 would kick the feet out from the one in the middle.
What?
Smacking this kid's head on the ground.
What the fuck?
It was an actual thing. I think like I said, quote me if I'm wrong. I think somebody died from that. I know 7 kids got sent to the hospital because they're literally cracking their heads on the concrete because you're knocking out your feet from underneath you.
These kids are stupid. Like after the Tide Pod challenge, no, fuck that. Back up. After the cinnamon challenge, everybody, okay, when people were choking and almost dying on cinnamon,
Tide Pod challenge,
you should have been done.
Yeah.
We had the Tide Pod challenge. We had kids sticking themselves in the dryers.
The dryers,
shit.
yeah.
Like, come on, guys. And that's what worries me about the future. Is just, it feels like when we were growing up, it feels like we had that built-in internal survival. Like, look, don't do dumb shit.
Exactly.
It was just obvious. Like, okay, like yes, me and Lynn used to steal, but we were very small time and trust and believe. If I got caught, I wasn't cussing nobody out. I wasn't uploading a video for likes and shit like that. It was, oh shit, I just got caught. I'm gonna have to pay for this.
Right.
Okay, like shit was different back then. And I'm sorry, I'm cussing more, but this stuff irritates the hell out of me. Like the stuff we see now is just stupid as shit.
It's a different generation. People are the things that we didn't get filtered from back in the day is now getting filtered.
Yeah.
But it's not stopping this. What generation would this be called?
This is the millennials.
This millennials?
Millennials.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure we're still millennials.
I thought we were millennials. No,
we're still.
It's like Gen C or Gen X or something like that.
We're still in that generation.
I don't know. now.
I don't know. It might be a new generation now, but last time I checked.
Yeah. So, just how the new generation is like if they don't have things to occupy their minds that are supposed to be getting censored, that now are getting censored, they find different ways to
it doesn't
live
even feel
through
like
it.
the generation, because if you look at it, adults are becoming super sensitive too. Like they're like, but my feelings. Okay, grow the hell up. Like, okay, and I'm sorry, let me slow down, because me and Lynn talked about this before the show. When I get amped up, sometimes I can sound a little cold. So what I mean is like, okay, for example, when I go to work, if I'm not doing my job very well, I need you to just be like, yo, you suck today. Like, I need you to go home, get it together, and come back tomorrow. That, yes, it may quote unquote hurt my feelings, but that's the point. It's to get a point across. Like, oh shit, like I fucked up. I'm having a bad day. Let me get my mind right. Let me figure out what it was that threw me off so I can get back better. Now, people are worried about getting sued and shit for telling you suck. So they're like, okay, well, let me talk to you. I just want to let you know your performance was not up to standard today. And we want to give you some steps and some ways to improve this so that next time you won't have, look, you suck, okay? Get your shit together and come back when your mind is right. So now there's this sensitivity, and like, I get it. I'm a dude, so, dudes handle things differently than other people. I'm an individual. Obviously, I can't speak for every single person out there. That's the way I feel. It just feels like people overall have just become super, super, super sensitive, and you have to like sugarcoat everything.
Right.
And I hate that. I hate sugarcoating stuff, because I'm a very forward person, if you could not tell.
No, yeah. You want to be able to actually speak your mind and talk how you feel and want to advertise, but everything comes with a price now of going from enjoying the little things and being able to do anything under the sun, as long as it wasn't breaking the law, was an average day-to-day basis for myself, for D, for most kids our age. And now it's just like you can't even so much as voice your opinion or look at somebody without getting that flag down of, all right, you're doing something wrong, you're judging something wrong, you're a bad person, and it takes away it takes away the fun. It puts the fear in people where they don't want to grow.
Yes.
I don't want to match myself, and I can't match what a millennial or whatever generation is now is doing, because that's not who I am. But I don't want to have to stop being me in order to not get in trouble or filtered for what's becoming. Be entitled to, if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling happy, if I want to go on my day-to-day basis of just being myself.
Yes.
But people are sensitive.
People are sensitive.
And how
things have changed.
How me and D come out is like, sometimes I'll come off being a dick. Like, when you guys see me and see my face, like D told me the one thing that I need to work on, which you will see. I have a very intimidating stature, and especially with my job, a lot of people, when they come talk
you have
to me,
maintain that.
Yeah, people see my stature of like with coworkers and with other people. It's like, I don't seem like a very approachable person. I'm not a scary individual, but I have this face where it's like, all right, there's no emotion. Is this dude pissed off? He's gonna punch me in the face.
You have a resting asshole face.
Yeah, I have a resting asshole face, but I am a very kind and caring person when I try to be.
Right.
So, but it gets to the part where it's like, I would like to be the kind, caring, loving, normal individual that I am, but I have to migrate into being an asshole to get by on a day-to-day, so people don't come after me.
And that's what it feels like becoming an adult was like. It felt like I had to learn to become more cold, because you can't trust everybody, and everybody wants your money, and everybody always wants something from you, and you got to go to work, and you can't call out sick, and you got to do this, you got to do that. You can't get fired. You have to provide. All these other variables started coming in, and that's why me and Lynn wanted to get back to the little things. We wanted to remember the things that made us happy to begin with. So we're going to go ahead and get off of the ground, shoot back up into the sky, and lighten the mood a little bit, okay? And hopefully end off on a nice positive note, okay? You guys still with us? Thank you. For those of you who are still here, we went off on a tangent, but we're back now. We're back. So I just want to talk about a few things that have kind of caught my eye recently. And when I say caught my eye, I'm a very easy person to please. I've been looking. Right now I drive a car, and I've been looking at trucks, and I want an Avalanche.
Yeah?
I really, really want an Avalanche.
You used to have that red Durango, which was pretty cool.
Red, okay, no, not just a red Durango. It was a red 5.9 V8, no Hemi. For some reason, they didn't make the RTs back then.
I thought they had it.
No, but four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
We drove that thing up a mountain, rolled it down, and it kept on pushing.
It lasted for a while.
I miss it, but I look at the new Durangos, and while they're purty, they look small.
Yeah, it's not as much of a tank that you had before.
So I was looking at a few other trucks, and I was like, maybe I want this, or maybe I want that, and then I just saw the Avalanche, and I'm like, oh, it just looks like a tank on wheels.
It's good. It
looks like it has armor.
Yeah,
and it's weird, but I really like that. I want to beef back up. I'm okay with driving my car now. I feel kind of small, with everybody else, but I miss being elevated. Having a big boy chair.
Yeah, actually being able to see something that was like luxurious, but at the same time, it was like you're not hunkered into a little car. Like I still drive that Charger that I have now, and it's a good car, but it's not my dream car. It's not what I've wanted more than anything.
No, you should be in a truck, dude. Like
I was thinking about it.
From,
it sucks. It's just being in this town. A truck's
expensive, bro.
Expensive. It would terrain, how much would you have to put into
Oh,
gas
my
up that
Durango.
truck?
So my Durango, on my worst days, I was putting $100 worth of gas a week.
Oh,
At least.
no.
At
Hell
least.
no.
I'm sorry. It got
50
worse.
to
I put
60.
150.
No, hell no.
At one point, I put 150 in a week.
I will never. That's
It
just
ate gas, but I loved it. It would choke and rattle and everything. But some other stuff that caught my eye really quick. Okay, you guys should have seen in our description. We understand, there's a little bit of some audio issues here and there. We are working on them diligently. I am studying till I'm like, can't even keep my eyes open. We're working on, buying some new hardware and making sure we have some really good quality, content coming out to you guys. So I've been looking at some new mics, been looking at some, audio stabilizers and stuff like that. So hardware is always my main focus. I'm kind of a techie. I'm a nerd. So I like to tinker with things, and I like to learn how they work on the inside. If you could see my hands, I'm doing this mind muahaha thing. I don't know how to explain it. Other than that, I've just been looking around just at little stuff. And it's funny that you bring up the little things, because while I was looking into audio equipment, I found myself like randomly looking at Beyblades.
Oh yeah, so you're
and spinner. What were they? Spinners?
The
fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners. Yeah,
Just,
it's little things that
wandering off
and actually looking into it. I know one thing that was catching my eye. It's obviously with how much I'm into fitness, and that's like one of my primary passions that I enjoy to do. It's frustrating because I'm, like I've said before, I'm falling apart like Mr. Potato Head over here. I've got injuries left and right at 30, more than I should have, but with being how combative I've been and how active I've been, it was bound to happen over time. I do look at I do like to look into how the human body works and how supplements work and how a diet can
anatomy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like one thing that was catching my eye was just like, now that I'm kind of seeing how my physique is pulling out, I try to put like a gym split together on what I wanted to do, how to change my diet up. Like I did cut out red meat. I cut out red meat, and I cut out pasta.
Nice.
And then through Tuesday to Friday, Tuesday, Saturday, I'm fasting. I'm not technically fasting. I'm drinking coffee in the morning, but I won't eat until like 12 or 1.
Yeah, I've been doing that lately.
The only thing that I can't do that on is on my work days, is because I'm sleeping. So I'm already in a form of an intermittent fast at that point.
You already have a quote-unquote weird eating schedule
so
of your work life.
The work life, I'm not technically eating from day to night. I'm eating from night to day.
Exactly.
So on the weekends,
your breakfast is like my midnight snack.
Exactly. So trading into that, using just poultry and fish as my source of protein. I'm still eating relatively the same thing, but I am noticing a difference. Which is kind of cool. Is I'm noticing I'm a little bit lighter on my feet, my knees, my joints don't hurt as much.
It's more leaner meats.
Exactly. So my body's actually taking into it way faster than I expected. And I'm happy with that. My energy's going up. I do feel good about it. So I noticed it caught my eye, and I'm gonna keep running with it.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, just to wrap things up on a positive vibe, look, I've had an amazing weekend. Me and Lynn have been recording consistently. I'm so happy with the way things have been turning out. Once again, thank you all so much for listening. We're getting on the right path, and I feel like we're all growing together. So we're gonna take it to the next level, and I personally cannot wait for you guys to have some one-on-one time with us, so you can see us face to face, and we can get on a whole nother level. We can start pushing our merch, because me and Lynn, trust me, when we say we're not in this for the money, but we're in it for you guys. We want to give you guys good content. We want to give you good merch, and we want to give you a good time. That's all. So thank you always for listening. Lynn, go ahead and take us away.
We're going to be pushing that merch. We want to get everything up and going in order to make this podcast a more permanent thing and something that we can actually we're already devoting 100% into. We want to punch it up to 150, but obviously with life and jobs and family and friends getting in there,
always.
It's really, really hard to only get one day a week, even though I really wish we could do more than like 1 or 2 days. So promoting the merch, actually getting to visually see us more when you guys actually see, talking with our hands and seeing our faces, getting to know us more, throwing out your comments, which is a section that we still need to touch base on, is getting your guys' feedback on what we want to talk about, what experiences you went through, what cartoons you grew up on, what stories you've been through, getting everything out on this platform and making it an open airwave for everybody. We want this to grow. So whatever money we can make and we can push into this, we can actually start making this more of an economy, of a positive feedback, of a growing experience with everybody. Like Dee was stating, we're all growing. And I'm learning more and more about stuff that I didn't know shit about to start off with. Crazy. So it's giving me more of a mindset and an outlook on how I feel as a future and what is next to come. So I'm looking forward to how things are going to turn out.
Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
And we'll be coming up with Instagram when it comes to pictures tuning up.
Oh yeah, we're going to go ham.
You guys stay tuned and stay in. On the next episode, you will be seeing our lovely or hideous faces, whichever you decide on. So
so pretty.
This is Lynn.
This is D.
Keep your head in the cloud.
And keep your feet on the motherfucking ground.
You guys have a good night, everybody.
We will see y'all next time.
Next time.